3 minutes.
3 minutes until showtime.
Oh, where's her intro? What the heck?
Two minutes until showtime.
All right, hold on. Just trying to find. I'm trying to find her intro. True crimes. No, it's old tales from the rocking chair. So, oh my goodness, where is it? It's not here. I cannot find her intro.
1 minute until showtime.
1 minute to showtime, and I can't find her intro. So, all right.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Log Talk Radio.
It's showtime, folks! Welcome to the Rick Radio Podcast Network, right here on Blog Talk Radio. With shows 6 days a week. Saturdays set aside for special events and verification. Join us as we produce the best on the net today. Be a part of Rick Nation. Network intro by Robert Sloan. Find Robert Sloan Music today on Facebook and on YouTube. And now your featured show.
evening, all, from the old wooden shack down by the Chickahominy Swamp near the old railroad track. Have a seat, curl up tight, get yourself ready for an interesting night. Don't get too scared if you feel a chill in the air as you get ready to hear another haunted tale from the old rocking chair.
Wow, how you doing, everybody? I am not your host. I am your guest host, Susan Swanbeck. We have a host on vacation, so she's having a lovely time on vacation. So I will be filling in tonight. I mean, might have some personal haunted stories, but that's about all I can do. And I have some haunted tales from back in the day, but it is what it is. So I figure we do a little chat, we do a little talk, throw little cards here and there, and just kind of see what happens. And introduce myself. I'm actually the host of the A.T.U network show over on Thursday nights. So, and I am filling in tonight. So it's welcome everybody to your usual Monday nights. Not my usual night. Not my usual night. So, yep, just kind of guest host over here. And those that don't know me, as I've said before, my name is Reverend Sue Swanbeck, and I'm normally the guest that's over on that Looney Tune healing show on Thursday night. So, might not be some old tales from the rocking chair, but I mean, I'm sure I could come up with a couple of scary tales for those that are actually interested. And if not, come on over for a reading and come tell me your scary tales. Scary tales? There's a first. Yeah, did you ever hear that? Say that 3 times fast. All right. It's been one of those days. So don't forget, you guys can call in at 323-870-3877. I am with you for an hour and I am going to drive you nuts, especially if nobody chats to me. I'm just going to keep going and going and going and going and going. And I just don't stop. I don't stop. I don't stop. I don't stop. So I have my trusty tarot, which I don't actually read. I channel. I don't read tarot. I channel it. I do many other things too, though. But how many of you remember stories from your past as we sit here and wait for anybody that would like a reading? I could tell you a couple. Let's see. When I was a teenager, we moved to this house in Acushnet. So this is actually true stories. So, and some people might call it scary, others won't. It's something that I kind of grew up with here, there, and everywhere. So I'll start off as my teenage years. And we moved into this house in Acushnet, which of course is up the street from the Acushnet River. Famous Acushnet River carries ley lines of particular type of energy going here, there, and everywhere. Excuse me. In this house, the energy, because I've always been an energy reader, this particular energy in this house was so weird. That's all I can say is weird. Now, come to find out, see, we had 2 cats called Bandit and No-No. They were both Maine Coons, but pure white. So we'd get up in the middle of the night, and of course, my younger sisters got freaked out, but I could see the silhouette they couldn't see. My cat, speaking of rocking chairs, would be rocking in the chair. My cat Bandit would be rocking back and forth in the chair, but he wouldn't be sitting in the chair. He'd be hovering above the chair like he was sitting on something, and you could see his fur like he was being patted. Okay. Well, come to find out, there was a lady by the name of Mrs. O'Leary. Mrs. O'Leary was the lady that was actually there. She was pretty interesting and quite cool. She would be patting the cat at night. So it was a very cool thing that was actually going on. So, I mean, this isn't your usual tales from the old rocking chair. Sorry about that tonight, guys. But, come on over. We can do some readings. We can do some channeling. We could do anything your little heart desires. And if not, I'm just going to keep going on some stories over here. Stories, Halloween, legends, and lords. We can get into some of that right now. Let's see what we got going on. Legends and lores of old Wisconsin scarecrow. Oh, let's see what this one is, guys. Hold on. All right. So as soon as this passes, let's see if we can pull this one up. Hold on. I'll pull this one up for you guys. You can take a look at that. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to do some screen share here. All right, hold on. Let's see. That's the one. I'm going to screen share that. Nice. Okay, so let's take a look-see at what we got over here. You ready? Here we go. Well, that was short and really didn't have any yaplu to that one, I'll tell you. So how many of you remember the Bridgewater Triangle documentary over there? Any of you ever seen the Bridgewater Triangle documentary? So I could tell you that I was actually in the Hompanock Swamp. An old friend of mine, Luann Jolly, is the one that actually did that particular show. I don't even know if I'm actually showing up, so we're just gonna get into it. I'm just gonna be myself. How you guys doing out there? I know Halloween is coming next month. And what it is the veil between the living and the dead is sometimes it thins, is what it does. So the veil between the living and the dead do thin. And what happens is spirits can actually come through a bit, is what they do. So when the spirit energy, hello, Renee. So when the spirit energy comes through, this is something that makes the veil a little bit thinner than normal. So therefore, people that do communicate with spirits on a regular basis, what happens? I'll tell you. Tell you what happens. Your communication actually does come stronger. Stronger. All right, come on, guys. Give me a call in. You can either tell me a scary story, you can ask me for a reading, either one. I know this isn't your usual tonight. You are missing your host. I know that, but she's on a much needed vacay. So, Haunted Tales from the Old Rocking Chair will be back right now. I am just guest host Susan Swanbeck. She will be back to her usual time, say her same bat time, her same bat channel is what she's actually going to be back to. So, let's see what we can come up with to talk about here today, because a lot of people there's a lot of myths and legends about particular things. Like you figure you take cats, go back to Egypt. When we're talking about cats back in the Egyptian time, what happens is they were actually considered royalty is what the cats were concerned. And now all of a sudden we have, oh my God, a black cat crossed your path. It's bad luck. Where do these come from? Where do these legends and lores actually come from? Now, this wasn't what I was planning on doing, so I am just going to go with the flow as my brain goes with it. Legends and lore. Okay, so we got a historical list of legends and lore is what we have here, and I'm trying to find the actual list, and of course, it just doesn't give me nuts. It's not giving me what I want tonight. I'll tell you, so I'll keep talking. Let's see. Mm. Wisconsin Halloween lore. No. Halloween folklore creatures. Hey guys, how you going? So what are we doing there tonight? Of course, dragons, ghosts, werewolves, vampires, banshees, zombies, demons, goblins. Let's start off with some vampire legend here. Let's see. Yeah, of course, long before Edward Cullen and the Twilight Vampire Saga, folklore became with the ideal of drinking blood and living in order to explain. This is 15. Okay, I like this one. We'll start with this right here. We'll go over this. Okay, this is the origins of 15 spookiest Halloween monsters. What do you say, guys? Sound good? I think that sounds fantastic. So let's go over that. Now, and again, everybody loves Halloween. You guys all love to dress up on your Halloween time. Like your favorite scary monster or what, but where did they come from? Where did all these come from? Now, Halloween's creepy creatures. A perfect Halloween night should involve, of course, a full moon, cloudy sky, a breeze, and some stories about creatures. How many of you guys sat around like campfires and told spooky stories like towards teenage years or even in younger years, like late elementary school, and do that? That was something I used to do down by the water. So it was really cool because the bonfire we made used to reflect off the ocean. It was really interesting. So the real stories between be from where the hair raising is. Excuse me. Halloween monsters reflect human explanation of the unknown. Ooh, let's see. Vampires. Huh. Well, let's see what we got, what it says here about vampires. And again, I'm reading in a Reader's Digest. And it's called it's readersdigest.com list, origins slash spookiest slash Halloween slash creatures. So none of this information is mine. It's actually something that I'm picking off the internet right now. So, and again, long before Edward Cullen and the Twilight Vampire Saga, folks came up with the idea of dead drinking the blood of the living in order to explain a contagious disease. Son of a gun. Now, if someone in the village died, and then someone else became sick, it was blamed on the deceased coming back to harm on the living. Oh, wow. So decoration, oh my God. So what it is they were later also done in Western and Europe and even in America to quell um response by vampirism. Now, but an Irish author, Bram Stoker, in his popular 1897 vampire novel Dracula, actually inspired by the folklore legend that a brutal medieval ruler Vlad the Impaler was actually a true person, brought the vampire legend back to life into mainstream. Now, today, countless movies, TVs, adaptations, including Netflix series, Dracula, keep these blood sucking Halloween monsters in our midst. Nice. So that actually stemmed from when one person was sick and the other one actually came back. That would be awesome. Now, oh my God, I don't want you to do this. Just leave me alone. Thank you. So that's where that particular thing actually came from. Hey, cats also ride between both planes too. Yes, they do. Cats do. Cats have a tendency to be able to see the spirit realm, is what it is. And that's why a lot of familiars, when you go back to the legends of witches, which I'm pretty sure that we're going to get into that, when you're talking about the legends of witches, also, a lot of individuals, the cats can actually see the spirit realm. So that's why the witches always had like cats as familiar so they could see if somebody was coming up behind them to attack. It was that type of particular thing. Mm. Sorry about that. Oof, I'll tell you. All right, zombies. Here's another one. Now, I want to know where the zombies come from. And again, I'm still reading from the Reader's Digest thing, but I've always been curious about where these particular legends actually come from. Where do they come from? Now, maybe these were all like pre-based on myth, is what they were. Now, although modern zombies are not very smart, which makes them easy to kill, their sheer numbers can actually overpower then consume the living. The origins of this Halloween monster, well, less gory, it's just as horrific. Now, slaves in Haiti draw on the African religion, developed the idea as a metaphor for burial conditions they lived under, brutal conditions they lived under. Wow. This story was actually incorporated into a voodoo religion in the Caribbean, South Africa, and the southern United States. Even had some basic facts. Voodoo practitioners, actually called Bruco, were said to employ the dead um, neurotoxins called tech. Oh my God, tech Techrodox toxin. Oh my goodness, that's a hard one. They can actually inflict a temporary death-like paralysis from which the subjects later awaken. And again, I'm just reading what it says here. Now, modern interpretations of the vampire started in the 1968 scary film Night of the Living Dead. I've actually seen that one. It's pretty good. Now, it actually continues today with the Walking Dead comic books and TV shows. Actually, used the zombie legend to explain new fear, like contagious nuclear war, post apocalyptic future, or even starborn boredom, like the U.S. Center for Disease Control. The presentation has also gotten into the fun as zombie preventiveness awareness. Now, zombies can be one of the scariest Halloween costumes, it says, but as you look as actually as the easy Halloween makeup ideal anyone can master, is what it says. Now, they're saying this is something actually coming from folklore. So, toxin, yes. Herbs and berries. Yes, that's what it actually says. Hey, Nikki. So these are just right now what I'm going over is I'm going over some of where the origins from the Halloween monsters actually came from, is what we're going to. So, and again, I'm presently reading from the Reader's Digest, is what I'm reading from. So, and I thought it was just a little bit of an interesting fact here. A little bit of an interesting fact. So that was zombies. Mummies. Now, I know in Egyptian culture, there are a lot of mummies, but how the mummies actually get up and walk around, I have no idea. How they came up with the idea, I don't know. Oh, in the movies. So let's say we read this and find out. What do you know? Now, the ancient Egyptians actually preserved bodies and buried them in hidden tombs along the desert, along with their goods they will need for the afterlife, because that was their belief system. Now, the idea of the mummy's curse, in which misfortune would fall upon anyone who opened the tomb, gained popularity as the Egyptology craze began in the 19th century after the Rosetta Stone discovery unlocked an ancient Egyptian language. Now, one 1912 article from the Washington Post even blamed the sinking of the Titanic on a mummy's curse. Wow. It was it was the discovery of the undisturbed tomb of King Tut in 1922 that really gave the curse of the pharaohs the life, especially after exhibition financier Lord Curran died from blood poisoning a year after he entered the tomb was open. Hollywood captured on the mummy's hysteria a decade later with the 1932 movie The Mummy Spring, and again Boris Karloff, he played that. His take on the lives, for example, of the humans. Speaking of the tales, don't forget to read spooky Halloween stories. Oh my goodness. So as far as that one, that is something that actually comes from what they actually believe. There was actually a factual known zombie deer posted in video from the news station, caught on camera. Wow. Now the zombie deer acquired a virus disease that severely affected them, and they believe as zombies. Yeah, and it is fascinating. So I'm trying to read this and try to find out. And of course, I wear two different glasses, one for the computer, one not. So not always good to read on the computer when you're doing this. But we'll go with it. So, and again, that's like how they're taking things that actually happen and how we're making them out to be. But here is the line, guys. Here's the line. Is it true? Is it not true? Okay. I mean, I know there was something going around a while ago, and I don't exactly remember about it. Somebody supposedly took, I don't know if it was a drug that was going around or something, but gave them made them feel like they were zombies, so they were running after people, eating them. And again, that was on the news. I forget what the name of that drug was, if anybody can remember that one. That was something that was actually going around. So do scientists have that ability? I'm pretty sure somebody does. That's pretty scary walking around like a zombie. Bath salts. That's what it was. The bath salts. Bath salts, wasn't it? Okay, what was it? I don't know what it was, but it was something they were doing, but it was pretty freaky. That's the way I look at it. It was pretty freaking freaky. Hello, Robert. So, I mean, going, it's like you wonder, okay, is this something somebody set up? Because you know the way cameras work nowadays, or at least anybody that's been behind a camera, that you can do certain things and alter things to make them look like something else that's not there. So, it's a catch 22 when you really think about it. What's real, what's not. But so I figured it would be a little fun just to go into some little myths and legends here to find out some information here. Now, the next one, ghosts. Okay, so National Ghost Hunting Day just went by. I myself have seen ghosts. So let's see what the Reader's Digest says that this myth comes from. Because a lot of us individuals that have actually seen spirits, and even paranormal investigators out there, that this is something that is tangible to individuals like us. But let's see what the Reader's Digest has to say about this. Now, from transparent, misty phantoms floating through the air to unseen poltergeists throwing things around the room, our nation of ghosts is as varied as it is old. It comes from the idea that people have souls separate from their bodies and thus live on after death, occasionally sticking around to haunt the living. Ghost sightings have been recorded since ancient Roman times. And according to the modern surveys, almost half of Americans believe in ghosts, with 1 in 5 people actually thinking they've seen one. Despite many photographers of alleged ghosts, spooky, and again, Ouija board stories, and the popularity of the modern ghost hunting shows and tours, So, and again, they're still saying they don't have tangible evidence to actually prove that. Now, this is getting into a whole nother side of it, this particular one. Now we're getting into the fact that does your body have, they said soul, spirit? Yes. I truly believe that your body has a spirit. So, yes, when your shell dies, this is our shell. When your shell dies, your spirit continues to live on. Yeah, I believe that. I do believe that. Do I believe that some linger? Yes, I do. I do believe that some linger. So it's something that I myself with Mrs. O'Leary. She actually died in that house that I lived in Acushnet when I was younger. She died there. I remember her hovering there. I mean, there was a lot of different energies and things that were actually there, not just a teenager having nightmares or anything like that, because I'm not the only one that's seen my Mrs. O'Leary that actually lived there. Um, so yeah, I believe in spirits. What about you guys? Do you guys believe that spirits and ghosts and energy and some of us, our souls actually are trapped? Or we go into what is known as a purgatory state here on earth. Could be another thing. Oh, bull, a bunch of malarkey. Yes, they can prove it. They have already. Thank you, Nikki. And again, this is, I am just reading articles off of this particular page, and this goes to prove a point. Okay, this goes to prove a point. We're gonna get into some more of this stuff. It's starting to get interesting and funny. You go, girl. And I love this because they people think, "Oh my god, I read it on the line. It was true." Yeah, no. Not everything you read literally on the internet is true. Some of it's a bunch of malarkey like you wouldn't believe. Just a bunch of hogwash is what it is, you know? It's not meant to be. So it's not truth. It's not factual. And then when you post something factual, they're like, oh, fake news, fake news, fake news. Yeah, this is hilarious. So I thought this is another way because I am filling in from Haunted Tales from the old rocking chair. So what the heck? Let's stick with the theme of their show. Why not? So and I hope she's having a blast on vacation. And I hope I'm honoring you well. So let's get into some stuff here. What else do they have here? Oh, werewolves. Let's get into the werewolf legend. Let's find out where werewolves came from. They're getting into a lot. They're touching base. This articles is actually touching base on a lot of interesting facts. Now, before I even read this, I can tell you that in Native American legends, they truly believe that your spirit can shift into another animal, hence the term shapeshifters. Okay. Native Americans were allowed to have, especially oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fart. The higher ups, they come up and they're able to shift their consciousness into another animal. Yes, that is something that really existed back then. Now let's read this and see what they have to say about this one. This will be quite interesting. Here we go. Now, the poor tortured werewolf. He doesn't want to change into a beast because he knows the havoc it'll wreak. Yet he is powerless to stop it. These shapeshifters are as old as mythology itself and figures in stories from many different cultures, from the ancient Greeks, tale of the lichen who turned into a wolf by Zeus, to the Nordic folklore. Nordic. Okay. Now, in the most recent history, this is ancient history. Native Americans were here long before us. Native Americans wore animal skins while hunting and possibly to scare other tribes, which I don't believe that, which they may have led to the werewolf legends. They really did travel and shapeshift. And yes, they wore the skins of their prey. Yes, they did. Anything else I could tell you 100%. Could actually, and again, people could go off onto wolf like rampage. So, and again, this is something that they're taking lightly and they're making fun of. But if you want to look more detailed into this, skinwalker, exactly. Exactly. Skin walkers. They call them skin walkers, shapeshifters. Now, do I believe? Yes, I do believe that there is a lot of things out there that we're unaware of. And I think a lot of people want to explain them away. I don't think anybody really wants to get and delve in deep to what's happening in here. It's like, oh my God, they can't be true. Oh my God, they can't be true. No, let's not do that. Let's not do this. But there's many different myths and legends. Okay. Excuse me, the also the Vikings, the Danes, they were called Danes. Vikings is kind of a name somebody else gave us, but now as far as that, we did wear wolf skins, okay? We wore the wolf skins just like the Native American Indians did. They would kill their prey, they'd wear the skins. So yeah, of course they wore animal skins, but they're shaman, excuse me, they're shaman of their tribe. They go into these deep trances, like they really trance, and it's a shamanic healing technique where they able to go into their spirit goes into the spirit of an animal, and therefore it's like if you have it's like okay, if you ever dreamed and you dream you're flying with an eagle or you're running with a wolf, or you actually dream you're in another animal, that's kind of like what we're talking about here. Yes, okay, you're aware you're a human, but you're flying with these eagles. You're traveling, you're running with the pack of wolves. So yeah, I truly believe that some legends are from myth, and some myths that they call myths are something from legends that they really just don't want to delve deep into, is what I think. Mm, mm. Oh, my throat is so dry today. I hate allergy season. All right, so let's get into a couple more here. Now, this one, oh, this is going to hit a couple of nerves, I can tell you that. Okay. Now, they're using witches here in a general term. Okay. Now, witches is all general. Me, I come from the Celts, which were actually originally called the Picts. Okay. Yes, I also had the Viking side, and yes, we did practice the what you guys call the paganism religion. Yes, we did do that. Let's see what they have to say here. So, witches enjoy a positive place in our culture today, thanks to Harry Potter. Oh, jeepus. Okay. And all those bewitched and witch movies. They're often seen as sweet and smart, but go a little further back and you'll discover the dark history behind these beings. Oh, here we go. Who just happened to inspire some of the most popular Halloween costumes? Mentioned in the Bible, witches were thought of to do the devil's bidding, which isn't true. Witches don't believe in the devil. To harm ourselves. During the Middle Ages, the hysteria about witches grew, which is true, and about 8,000 suspected were killed, and a lot of them, they weren't. And most of the time, what they call witchcraft today, a lot of them were herbalists. They were just there to heal. Let's see. In the famous Salem trials, 200 people of the witchcraft leading to the deaths of, let's see, 20 in 1692 and 1693. It was said today, those who practice Wicca is what they call it, a modern form of witchcraft, are seen as harmless, peaceful nature worshippers. So, I mean, and they didn't even get into the Celts, okay, the Celtic history of it, but they're talking about what they labeled as witches. And again, anything you didn't talk about. And if you want to go back and even a little bit more, we're talking that a lot of people, some women that were actually accused of being witches weren't witches. They were just herbalists, and the woman couldn't do the healing. A doctor had to do the healing back in the days of Salem. So a lot of times they would falsely accuse a lot of individuals of doing that. So they still, as far as this article, I believe that they have not pinpointed any part of where this has actually come from. Say, I can give you the names of Arizona Ranger police who have dealt with real skinwalkers, hardcore serious fighting stories. Oh my God. Nikki, we'd have to do a show on that. That would be awesome. We could do that, Nikki. That would be really cool. I mean, think about it. Myths and legends and skinwalkers Everybody that knows, I have this wonderful man, but he's got Mem tribe in him, which is one of the oldest tribes going. There's not many left from that particular tribe, and he's Mem Indian. So that's just one of his nationalities. And so, yeah, trying to find history on the Mem tribe from Puerto Rico in the mountains it's difficult to hear anything about the skinwalkers is something that I would love to find out. I'm sure I'd love to listen to something like that too. It would be awesome. Was my cousin was in a town midwife in Salem. Yeah, see what I mean? See what I mean? Yes. Do you see what I mean? So we have midwives because the doctors, the male wanted to take over at the time. At the time, we're talking about how back then women were of the lower class, men were the only ones that were allowed to work. We had to stay home, bear the children, and we weren't allowed to have knowledge. So a lot of the female individuals who did have the knowledge back in Salem were actually accused of doing something they didn't want to, or if a famous judge or something like that came up and wanted a woman to wanted somebody to come and make a pretty much a pass at them, they were accused of witchcraft. Oh, you're a witch, you're a witch, you're a witch, all because they said no. So there's a lot of individuals that had nothing to do with the witchcraft at all. Okay, and they really didn't know enough about it to do that. So that would be awesome. So let's see what else we got over here on this one. That was the witches. So, oh, okay, here we go. The Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper. Now I got a story for you. Before we get into the Grim Reaper, I got a story. Okay. Gonna go back to the house in Acushnet. Excuse me. And that house in Acushnet, when I was a teenager, and again, Mrs. O'Leary started hanging around a lot after he came. There was a Grim Reaper in my room, and he pointed at me like this and went like this. And all you seen was this bony arm and this bony finger. And he was going like this, as if to call me over. Oh my God, I hid under the blanket. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, because I've seen a lot of weird things in my day, seeing all these stuff, but that was the weirdest one. I think that's when I started to kind of straighten out and fly right. Oh, wow. Witches get into why the medical system in the ancient days deliberately went after herbalists. Yes, natural medicines, and they actually banned it for so long. That's exactly why. So now because of all this stuff was banned, even though it's nature's medicine, which could actually help us a lot more, those individuals that do want to help people through either aromatherapy or herbalism, it's like expensive because they don't follow the medical aspects, the medical background of that. So, woohoo! I know the Reaper, very nice guy, actually. Yes, but when he called me, I was a teenager and it scared me. My kitty hissed at him. So, but when he called me, this is when I was a teenager. I was like, yeah, no. I was like, oh, heck no. So, because, I was into horror movies and watched a bunch of horror movies. So, of course, what do you think? This guy saying, yeah, come here, come here. Bony hand saying, come here. And I was like, yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to do that. So, yeah, it was for me at that age, teenager, watch horror movies. You see all these things on TV and you're like, no. Like, not going. Thank you, but all set. Very persistent individual, very persistent. So it goes, after I was in that room, I was in the room with my two sisters. Then I moved into a different bedroom. Over in a cushion, I moved into a different bedroom. And do you know that sucker followed me to that room too? And he was up against the closet this time, going, come on. And I'm like, why me? So I kept saying no. Yeah. Let's see what this says is actually, is it myth? Is it legend? We're saying this as far as this particular article, This is where the saying it came from. Let's find out. Now, this eerie figure is actually death whoa, personified. Thank you. Okay. Now, a skeletal form shrouded in a black robe and carrying a farming tool known as a sigilate to actually reap or harvest human souls on earth. But how did that come to be? Although many cultures have God and other physical beings represented death who bring people to the afterlife. This particular image actually first appeared in Europe during the 14th century, aimed a bubonic plague, also called the Black Death, okay, which killed millions of people. Art from that time period dictating death literally as a skeleton, with the common tool of the sigil for collecting souls. This is where it came from around the time of the Black Death. Think of where the skeleton came from. Around the time of the Black Death, everybody would just kind of suck in, and that's what it be. So the anonymous, mysterious black robe actually reflecting religions on of they were that was actually their funeral garb is what it was. Through the centuries to modern times, Reaper-like characters have made appearances in everything from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, to Ted and Bill's Excellent Adventure, of course, into Harry Potter, and all kinds of things. So this is what they're saying, Sigil, what you said, Robert. Hello, Brenda Newcomb. So this is what they're saying that particular legend actually came from. They're saying it actually came from the time of the Black Death. Now, we're talking about the hooded black figure with the bony arm, and pretty much that's kind of what I seen. So I wasn't sure if I was just having a nightmare or what the heck was going on. So yeah, I was like, yeah, no. I wasn't willing to find out at that time of night. So that's where this particular myth and legend actually came from. So that's really quite interesting. And if you guys have any comments about that one, I have about 16 minutes left to this show. Oh, the Headless Horseman. Okay, let's see what this article actually talks about where this particular legend actually came from. Now, the Headless Horseman appears to be an actual piece of folklore, when in reality it was the creation of an author's mind in 1820. The legend of Sleepy Hollow, Washington Iron, coming up with a tale of a school teacher, Ichabod Crane, who had a run in with a creepy figure and was never heard from again. Let's see, left authenticity. Eyring actually wrote a story as if it had been discovered among the papers of his fictional historian. Let's see, Eyring actually was poorly influenced by the German folklore of the Headless Rider. They also appear in Irish and Scandinavian mythology. It's not really giving enough information on this. And the one hysterical count tales of the Hespen Mercenary actually dictated by the cannonball in the American Revolution. Although the village of Sleepy Hollow was originally fictional, Eyring did not stay in the base of his tale on the real section of Tri-Town, New York, is where he actually lives. So I guess he put this all up as fiction. But the Reaper looks nothing like the skeleton in a real form. Exactly. And that's where it came from. That's where that bony hand came from. Okay. I'm glad you found that out because Native Americans said that there was a chief who lost his head and he used to drive around all over the mountains and everything else without his head. Um, he got behind it, and then was my grandpa told me it was always curious. Yeah, so I was really curious about that one too. You knew the horsemen. Now it comes to them. Oh boy. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the information, it's like sometimes they're saying, okay, this is where it came from, or it could come from here, it could come from there, come from there. This particular article really isn't giving you enough information, so it's kind of up to your own imagination where it's actually coming from. It's really whacked. So you're trying to figure this out, but it is what it is. So, oh my God, the Frankenstein monster. Okay. Like the Headless Horseman, Frankenstein Monster often is called Frankenstein. He was the brainchild of actually a writer called Mary Shelley. She is said to have been inspired to write her now classic novel by a ghost storytelling challenge while on vacation in 1860. It was originally intended book of a mad scientist, Victor Frankenstein, and his jumble of human body parts creatures now stands fine line. And again, to me, that's like a classic horror. Okay, classic horror. Okay, and I get that, the classic horror. That's a really, really good idea of a book, and they made it into things. Now, before we get into swamp monsters, suppose they say rode his horse. Yeah. Now, before we get into swamp monsters. Let's talk how sometimes, like down here, we have Hockomock Harry. And again, that's in Hoppennock Swamp is where it is. Okay, but is not really a swamp creature, is he? He's more along the lines of what we know today as excuse me. Oh my God. Why am I having such brain farts today? He's hairy creatures, really tall. Hoppennock Harry. Hoppennock Swan. Sasquatch. Please excuse me. What we call swats is a best recycling story. True. It's true. I guess she wrote it on a dare, and it was very good. It's a very good movie, very good story. So I enjoyed it. Mm. Sorry, guys. I'm really thirsty today. So, oof. I have about 11 minutes left. Now, that's what I am thinking. Let's see what this particular article actually says about the swamp monster. Now, let's face it, swamps are creepy places. No, actually, I really like taking photographs there. Whatever. You just don't know what's down there anymore. Anyone who's ever in a swamp, murky pond knows the eerie feeling. No, some of us brush against your leg, modern visuals of swamp monsters, including a DC comic swamp thing, Marvel Man thing. Okay, we're talking about this. Stem from Cajun, they're saying folklore. Okay, in Louisiana Bayou, the Rugala is a werewolf-like creature that was used to scare children into behaving. Huh. Most recent tales of the Honey Island swamp monster also claim there was a half man, half beast lurking in the swamp northwestern New Orleans. With footprints in the swamp and video to prove it, stories adequate dwelling Halloween monsters also take their cue from the let's see 1954 horror classic Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's true, but they're saying that it actually comes from Cajun folklore, which is quite interesting. That's something I didn't know. I didn't know that at all. So, wow. It's been an interesting night. So, and again, I'm filling in for Haunted Tales from Your Old Rocking Chair. And I did find her. I don't know what PSA is. One says intro, one says PSA. I don't know what that means. So, hopefully, I played what she wanted me to play. So I mean, that's an interesting. Now, a lot of people, yeah, some people find clowns going demons. That's opening a whole can of worms there. When you start talking about demons and where people think they come from, that really does open a whole can of worms. That's a can of worms we're not gonna open at the moment. Okay, killer robots, that's going. Aliens, excuse me, aliens also opening a whole can of worms. Now, here's one we could talk about. Okay. This is urban legend we're actually getting into now. And I have a few more minutes that we could talk about urban legends. Urban legends. Let's see. Shelley and that Frankly boy story has stood the test of time. I loved it. Yeah. They make a lot of good stories out of things. Now, here's another one. Everybody that's heard, of course, Bloody Mary. There's been a lot of radio shows and everything over this. Now, she is at actually the center of urban legend that actually has inspired countless terrifying dares to childhood sleepovers. We're, of course, talking about Bloody Mary as it is known, Mary Wales and Mary Worth. Huh. She is, the legend goes, if you light a candle and take it into a dark bathroom and chant Bloody Mary 13 times, a ghastly ghost, Bloody Mary herself, will appear in the mirror. If she doesn't come to braid your hair. Okay. Now, how did Bloody Mary's terrifying story actually come to be? Many credit folklorist Janet Laglands to be the first person to actually publish an essay mentioning the Bloody Mary ritual in 1978. Thought it was later than that, but kids were actually practicing in a spine tingling game before its publication, which is true. So they don't even know where it comes from. There is not much to say about her legend or ritual it actually came to be. Anybody have any ideas about this particular legend and how it actually came to be, if it's a true story or if it's actually based on anything? Because the articles that I'm reading are not giving me the right information. They are not giving me the information that I actually want. Myth and legends. I want to know where these actually come from. Okay. And that's what I'm not actually getting right now. Oh my God, I got to the last one. That was Bloody Mary. So, but I'm not getting the actual information from where particular things come from, and that's something that I would like to find out. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I come to find that out. So let's see. He's so funny. Yeah, that's my man. Sorry. Um, so um there's some myths and legends. Now, yeah, Nikki, we got to get together and do a few more shows. I have a lot of fun when Nikki's on. So, and I think it's what the last. We already did this Saturday. It's December. I don't know. I forget. We'll get in touch. I forget what the next show is that Nikki's coming on. Nikki Jacobs will be coming over to A.T.U show. But today, as I said, I'm filling in for Haunted Tales from the Rocking Chair and did the best I can. So, for Halloween, I'm not sure what I want to do for that yet. So, let's see. How much time do we have left? I have about 5 minutes left to the show. So let's see. Any myth and legends that you guys know about? There's a phenomenal true ghost story and a property that's believe is in New York. While since I've checked it with the property, has had some hardcore ghost paranormal vortex on the property. Oh my God. Yeah. Speaking of vortex, there's actually one in Pennsylvania. There's another one where it's a time shift. This part of her house, a quarter of it, is constantly shifts back in time. Constantly shifts back in time. It's like so interesting. So many people have been there to try to calm it down, and it's something that can't. Yeah. Okay. It's a myth, or is it a fact that Halloween, the dead gets to walk with the living, and that's what. Oh, well, actually, I can tell you what it is in my belief system, the Celtic belief system. What it is the veil between the living and the dead actually thin, and that's around Samhain. Now, Samhain doesn't always land on Halloween. It's the veil of the living and dead. It has to do with the energy center. So the shift in the energy do allow those that have passed over to come and actually visit with us and talk with us. Yes. And in ancient Celtic tradition. And again, I think this also stands for some other crafts that do believe it. We actually, when we have our dinner at night, we actually place a black tablecloth, a black plate, and we have these things that are set just for the individual that you want to come visit you during dinner. And when you set it there, you sit there and you have a conversation. The veil, it usually thins for about 7 days, so it's right before and right after Halloween. Look for Shamahain or Samhain is another one. It's right around there, October 28th and 29th to November 2nd. Thank you. No, that's okay. I think those are about the right timelines is what it is. So the veil between the living and the dead is something that does thin, and you're able to actually have a conversation. So which is it's an awesome time of the year, especially Shamahain. Yep, Shamahain, and some others call it Samhain. So, and it is because the world actually thins, and you're able to visit with loved ones that passed over, and that's where that legend came from. So, if you go back into the Celtic or the paganism type way, you're getting into the fact that we're able to communicate with the loved ones that pass over, and just ordinary individuals, because we're all gifted. We all have gifts in many different ways. So it's a pretty awesome thing. It's a pretty awesome. So I actually there are many ways of spelling it. Yeah, there's a lot. See, pagans call it one and Celtics call it another. So it's Shamahain, Samhain. It's called two different things based on your religion. Means the same bloody thing. It's just named something different. Hello, Kim Tate. So it's just actually called something different there. So we have a caller on hold that seems to be listening in. I hope you're enjoying the show. I have about 1 minute and 35 seconds left, is all I have for this show.
90 seconds.
90 seconds. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in. And Nikki, get in contact with me. We got to get some nice shows scheduled because it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Should probably get a calendar. Thank you guys. And hopefully you did enjoy this. Just a guest host on the Haunted Tales from the Old Rocking Chair. And I'm going to push a button on this thing, and I hope it's the right one. I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
I like that.
Seconds.
Peace.